Okay, Chapter 5 marks the end of our indexing rules for alphabetic indexing rules. And these are rules 9 and 10. And I did mention this in a previous video that sometimes we have names that are identical. Smith is a very popular name. John is a very popular name. We could have many John Smiths. So the way that we handle this, we determine it by the address. So if we have two people with identical names and there's no middle initial, then we sort it by the following. The first would be by the city. So if we have two John Smiths, one lives in Harrisburg, one lives in Mechanicsburg, then they would be filed as John Smith in Harrisburg would be filed before John Smith in Mechanicsburg. If we have two John Smiths in Harrisburg, then we would go to the state. And if the state is the same, then you go to the street. And then finally, if the streets happen to be the same, then we would go to the house number or the building number. That's the fourth. So the first thing with identical names, now you're still going to index them by their name. The filing order is still going to be last name, first name. But then if they're the same, then we would go to the city name. Then we would look to the state if the city name is the same. If the state and the city are the same, we would go to the street name. And finally, if those three above are all the same, then we look to the house number or the building number. So let's take a look at some examples here. Here we have a place called Seaside Inn, and notice they were all seaside inns, but we first look to the city. So the key unit is going to be seaside for all of them. The second unit is going to be inn for all of them. But then we go to the third unit, which would be the city. So the first three, the city is Oceanside. And then the last three are a little different. We have one in Ventura, one in Walnut, and one in Westwood. Now we look at the fourth unit, which is the state. We have, for our Oceanside, we have an Oceanside, California, Oceanside, New Jersey, Washington, and then the last three are all California. So again, key unit is the same, second unit is the same. We go to the third unit. These three are all the same. So if the city is the same, we look to the state. This state is California, New Jersey, and Washington. So we file alphabetically this way by the state. California would be filed alphabetically before New Jersey, New Jersey alphabetically before Washington. With the last examples, the state is all the same, but the cities are all different. So the state is irrelevant here. All right, we have the key unit again is Seaside. Second unit is Inn, but we have three different cities, Ventura, Walnut, and Westwood. Again, all filed alphabetically because each one is different. California, again, does not matter in this case because the city names are all different. So that was Rule 9. Rule 10 is government names, and this is a little bit different than handling personal names and business names. So when we have a local or regional government, the key unit is always the name of either the county, the city, the town, or the village, depending on what the name of the government unit is. All right, so it depends on what the name of the unit is. You would pull out the town, the city, the country, or I'm sorry, the county or the village as the first unit. Secondly, you would pull out the most distinct part of the name, something that identifies it. So public library is an example, fitness center, waterworks, transportation center, anything that identifies the next part would be the second unit. And then finally, when you have things like county of, city of, department of, that would be next. If it does not have the word of in it, you do not add it. You only use it if it's already included as part of the official name. So of is not added to a name. It's only used if it is part of the official name. So let's look at these examples. So here we have the County of Alameda Aquatic Center. So we look for first, again, the city, the county, the village, the town, and it would be Alameda. So that's the key unit. And then we have county of, because that's all part of it, and then aquatic center. City of Arlington Public Library. Arlington is the city. Then we have the second unit, city of, and then finally public library. City of Arlington Senior Center, Arlington, City of Senior Center. Okay, now these first three are the same for Arlington City of. So we look to the fourth unit, which is public, would be filed before senior. Ashley County Department of Elections. All right, so we have Ashley as the key unit. County is second. Then you pull out the most descriptive term. Elections is descriptive. Department is not. That's a generic term. So you would go with elections as the third unit and then department of. And just like up above, even though county is first here, we pull out the name first and then do county of. So that's very similar to what you're doing here with departments and the departments of elections. Augusta City Waterworks. Augusta, key unit, city second, water, and then works. There's no reason to put an of in there because it does not have one. Baker County Bureau of Licenses. Again, Baker is the name of the county. Then you have county, and then licenses is the most descriptive unit, not bureau. Bureau is general and generic. So we pull out licenses and then Bureau of. City of Banks, Water Department. Right. Banks is the name of the city. City of, and then Water Department. And then Barstow Municipal Court. Barstow, key unit, municipal second, and court third. All right, so you need to pull out, you'd never use the word department, bureau, for an important unit. Those are all generic. You want to pull out the most descriptive term. So that's for county and city governments. For state government, then we use the name of the state as the first unit. So it's a state or province. If we're talking about Canada, it would be a province. Once again, we use the most distinctive part of the name. So Attorney General, Commissioner, Governor, and then the type of the office. Office of, Department of. Once again, we do not add of to the name if it's not already part of it officially. So let's look at these. These are all in Michigan. So the key unit for every one of them is going to be Michigan. So then you have to pick out, again, distinctive terms. Office is general. Attorney General would be the most descriptive. So there would be separate units, Attorney General, and then Office of. Michigan Department of Civil Service, again, Michigan key unit. Department is generic. So we need to pull out a descriptive word, civil service. So civil will be unit 2, unit 3 service, and then department of. Michigan Department of Community Health, key unit Michigan. Descriptive words describing the department, community, health, and then department of. Michigan Department of Education, Michigan, key unit. Education is description of the department, and then department of. Michigan Department of Environmental Quality, key unit Michigan, name of the department, environmental quality, department of. Here we don't have a department name or an office name, so it is just Michigan Lottery Commissioner. And then finally, we have Michigan Department of Natural Resources. Again, Michigan key unit. The department is Natural Resources, and then department of. Again, just to reemphasize, you never use department, office as a third unit. They are going to follow after you pick out the distinctive name of the department or the office. So the federal government is a little different. Instead of breaking things down into a key unit and indexing units, we use 3 indexing levels. United States government is always the first level. So no matter what department it is within the government, United States government is always going to be the first level. Then you would have the name of the department, or whatever the top level agency might be, is the second level. And then the third level would be, again, a distinctive name. So the National Weather Service, the Civil Rights Office, those would be the distinctive name. Once again, of and the are only considered and included, or not really considered, but included for clarity if necessary. So let's look at the government names. So here we have National Weather Service, Department of Commerce. So the first unit, and it shows you up here, is Level 1, United States Government. All of these are United States Government. All of them, their first level is United States Government. So we look at the next one. The department comes next. So it is the Commerce Department. So Commerce would come first, and then Department of. And then finally, National Weather Service. Office of Civil Rights, Department of Education. We know this is a federal level. So it is the United States government is level 1. Level 2 is the department, education, Department of, and then the office, Civil Rights Office of. Department of Health and Human Services, this does not have another bureau or office under it. So first level, United States government. Second is Health and Human Services. Office of Energy Assurance, Department of Homeland Security. United States government is level 1. Level 2 is the department, Homeland Security, Department of. And finally, Energy Assurance, Office of. Department of the Interior, Bureau of Reclamation. Name of the department is Interior, Department of the, and then the office, or the third level, or bureau, is Reclamation, Bureau of. Federal Bureau of Investigation, it's in the Department of Justice. Level 1, United States Government. Level 2, Justice Department of. And Level 3, Investigation. Notice Federal Bureau is not first, because Federal Bureau, there are many different federal bureaus. So this is more generic, but this is the investigation. So Investigation, Federal Bureau of. And finally, Federal Bureau of Prisons. So here we have another federal bureau. It's also under the Department of Justice. So this would be Prisons, Federal Bureau of. All right, so for foreign government names, we use the English translation to code it and file it by that. Try to pull out the most distinctive part of the country name and use the balance as the other units. And then finally, if branches and departments, you would use those next. So when we look at examples in these, you'd have to look up most of them. Some of them I know this is Austria. So the English spelling would be Austria and is Republic of. Moldova is Republic of, so Moldova, Republic of. So you just pull out the name of the country, English translation, and then put the other units following it. You would also cross-reference any foreign business names. Again, we file it under the English translation and cross-reference it under the foreign translation. So this is a German university, and this is how we would translate it in English. This is where we cross-reference it. Same thing with foreign governments. Since we file them under our English translation, we do a cross-reference under the foreign name. And finally, the last little part in here, we do a whole chapter and on subjects file. So even with subject filing, it's still alphabetical, and we use alphabetic filing within subject. So these are just some examples. You have applications, bids, special promotions. So the subject title is always the key unit.